I'm here to shatter everything you thought you knew about getting the truth from women. Most men ask the wrong questions, then wonder why they get lies in return. But what if I told you there are 6 psychological triggers that make it literally impossible for a woman to continue lying? What if I told you these triggers are so powerful they have never failed to break a confession? These techniques have a 100% success rate. Not just partial truths, not just, "It just happened once." I'm talking about complete, devastating honesty about everything. Before we get started, please hit that like button to help other men find this crucial information. Also, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. In the comments, please write what city you're from. I'm curious to see how many men worldwide are dealing with this exact issue. Now listen carefully. Only use this knowledge if you are truly ready to hear the truth. Because once you apply these methods, there is no turning back. You will know everything, and I mean everything. The first technique is called the silent stare. Listen carefully. When you suspect her of cheating, do not ask questions right away. Instead, just look at her for a long time, silently. Here's how it works. Sit directly across from her. Look her directly in the eyes and say nothing. Not for 5 seconds, but for 30 to 60 seconds. The female psyche is wired to feel uncomfortable with silence, especially when we are hiding something. Why does this work? Women are conditioned to communicate, to explain things, and to feel awkward during pauses in conversation. From childhood, we are socialized to be verbal, to express feelings, and to maintain connection through words. But when a woman is hiding something, this silence becomes unbearable. The discomfort is amplified by her guilt, and she will start talking. Most of the time, the first thing that comes out of her mouth in these moments is either the truth or something very close to it. I have seen this technique break down even the strongest women. The silence builds and builds until the pressure becomes too much, and something has to give. That something is usually her composure. I once watched a friend try to maintain her lies while using this technique. Within 40 seconds, she was spilling details she had never intended to reveal. The psychological principle at play here is called conversational pressure. When someone expects a response and doesn't get one, their anxiety levels spike. For a woman carrying guilt, this anxiety becomes overwhelming. She begins to fill the silence with explanations and justifications, and often, with inadvertent confessions. Remember, the person who breaks the silence first loses the power dynamic. But here's a crucial detail. Your stare must be calm, not aggressive. You are not trying to intimidate her. You are creating a space for the truth to come out. Aggressive staring will make her defensive and give her an excuse to attack your behavior instead of addressing her own. A calm, patient stare creates psychological pressure that is almost impossible to resist. And that's just the first technique. The next 5 are even more powerful. So stay until the end because I'm about to reveal tactics that most men never discover. Technique number 2 is to start with what you already know. Here's the secret: never start with the question, "Are you cheating on me?" That's for amateurs. That question gives her exactly what she needs, a simple yes or no response that she can lie about with confidence. Instead, begin with what you supposedly already know. For example, "Yesterday at 8 p.m., you were not where you said you were." Even if you are not completely sure, speak with confidence. The key is to make specific statements, not to ask general questions. Female psychology works like this. If we think we've already been caught, we start making justifications. And within those justifications, the truth always slips out. We can't help ourselves. We want to minimize the damage. So, we start explaining away the evidence. She might say, "No, I was with my friend, but we didn't meet at the cafe like I said. We met at her house instead because she wasn't feeling well." Bingo. She just admitted she lied about the location. And if she lied about that simple detail, what else is she lying about? This technique works because it shifts the burden of proof. Instead of you having to prove she's lying, she has to prove she's telling the truth. But since she's already operating from a foundation of lies, every explanation she gives creates new contradictions that you can pick apart. The beauty of this technique is in the details. When someone is telling the truth, the details are consistent and natural. They flow together logically because they are based on real memories. When someone is lying, they have to construct details on the spot. These constructed details never quite fit together perfectly. They're either too polished, they contradict earlier statements, or they include unnecessary information that reveals guilt. I remember coaching a friend through this exact situation. Her husband suspected she was having an affair with her personal trainer. Instead of asking, "Are you sleeping with your trainer?" he said, "I know you weren't at the gym until 9 p.m. last Tuesday like you told me." Within 10 minutes, she had revealed not just that she lied about her workout times, but who she was actually with, where they went, and why she felt the need to lie. The truth has a way of wanting to come out when the pressure is applied correctly and specifically. The third technique is reverse confession. This one is my personal favorite because it's so psychologically elegant. Approach her and say, "Someone already told me everything, but I want to hear your version so I can understand how serious this is." Notice the sophisticated psychology here. You don't say who told you or what exactly they said, but her brain automatically starts cycling through possibilities. Who could know? What exactly does he know? How much did they tell him? Was it her coworker who saw us? Her sister who's always suspicious? The neighbor who's home during the day? And you know what happens next? She starts talking because she thinks if she tells her version, she can minimize the damage and control how you perceive what happened. Women always want to control the narrative. We want to be the ones telling our story, shaping how it's perceived. This is a deeply ingrained part of female psychology. We believe that if we can frame the story correctly, we can influence the emotional response to it. This technique brilliantly exploits that psychological need. Here's what's going on in her mind. If he already knows something, I need to get ahead of this. I need to tell him my side before he hears worse things from someone else. Maybe if I confess to something smaller, he won't dig for the bigger truth. But here's the beautiful trap. Since you haven't actually specified what you know, she has to guess what to confess to. And in guessing, she often reveals much more than she intended. She might confess to an emotional affair when you only suspected unusual texting. She might admit to meeting someone when you only noticed she was dressing differently. I've witnessed women confess to entire affairs when the husband only suspected a single lunch meeting. Why? Because once they start talking, trying to control the narrative, they often over-explain and reveal everything in an attempt to seem completely honest about their version of events. The key psychological principle here is called confession relief. When someone is carrying guilt, there's actually a part of them that wants to confess. The burden of lies is heavy, and this technique gives them permission to unload it while feeling like they're still maintaining some control over the situation. The next three techniques are even more devious. These tap into deeper psychological mechanisms that most women don't even realize they have. Technique number 4 is the future consequences scenario. Here's what you say. "Listen, I'm prepared to forgive a mistake if you tell me everything right now. But if I find out the truth from other sources," and then you stop talking, do not complete the threat. Why does this work? Because it creates a sense of urgency and offers false hope for forgiveness. The female brain starts calculating options. What if he really would forgive me? What if I don't tell him now and he finds out himself? Fear of the unknown is stronger than fear of the known. Very often, a woman will choose the known threat, which means she'll tell the truth. This technique is particularly effective because it plays into the female desire for emotional security. We want to believe that honesty will be rewarded, that confession will lead to forgiveness. Even when we know we've done something wrong, we hold on to hope that our partners will choose love over anger. But here's the psychological mechanism at work. By not completing your threat, you force her imagination to fill in the blanks. And our imaginations are always worse than reality. She's not just afraid of your actual reaction, she's afraid of what her mind is telling her your reaction might be. The incomplete threat is more powerful than any specific consequence you could name. It leaves room for her worst fears to take over. I want to be clear. I am not advocating for manipulation in healthy relationships. But if trust has already been broken and deception is already present, then these techniques simply level the playing field. The fifth technique is the false detail drop. This one is for advanced practitioners. When you're talking to her, insert a fabricated but plausible detail. For example, if you suspect she's involved with a coworker, say, "I know you two drove around in his red car." Even though you have no idea what color his car is, if she is cheating and he really exists, she'll automatically correct you. "What red car?" "His is blue." "Congratulations." She just confirmed that the man exists. She knows the color of his car. And they've actually driven somewhere together. If she is innocent of any wrongdoing, she will simply say, "What are you even talking about?" This technique works because of a psychological principle called cognitive load. When someone is maintaining a lie, their brain is already working overtime to keep the false narrative consistent. When you introduce a wrong detail, their automatic impulse is to correct it because they know the right details. It's like when someone tells you a story about a movie they've never seen versus someone who actually watched it. The person who watched it will correct specific details because they have real memories. The person who didn't watch it will either ignore the details or admit they don't know. But be careful with this technique. The false detail must be plausible and specific enough to trigger a correction, but not so outlandish that it seems like you are fishing for information. I once helped a woman's husband discover her affair using exactly this method. He suspected she was meeting someone during her book club meetings. He said, "I know you and David always sit in the back corner booth at that cafe." She immediately responded, "We don't sit in the back. We always take the window table." She had just revealed that there was indeed a David and that they had regular seating arrangements, information that confirmed the affair. The sixth and final technique is calm accusation. This is the most powerful of all. Approach her and very calmly, almost indifferently say, "I know you're cheating on me." Don't shout, don't wave your arms, don't accuse emotionally. Just state it as a fact, like you're commenting on the weather. Why is this so effective? Because women expect emotions. We are prepared for shouting, tears, and drama, but calmness is frightening. A calm man seems dangerous because he's in control of the situation. He's not reactive, he's strategic. And very often, it is exactly this calmness that breaks down the final defense. Here's what's happening psychologically. When you remain calm in the face of such a serious accusation, it signals supreme confidence. It tells her that you are not guessing or hoping to catch her in a lie. You already know. Emotional accusations can be deflected, dismissed, or turned around. For example, she can say, "You're being paranoid," "You're imagining things," or "You're letting your insecurity control you." But calm certainty is much harder to argue against. The calmness also prevents her from using your emotions against you. Many women, when confronted emotionally, will focus on the man's reaction rather than addressing the actual issue. They'll say things like, "Look how you're acting," or "You're scaring me, I can't talk to you when you're like this." But when you are calm, she can't deflect. She has to address the actual accusation. I remember a case where this technique broke through months of elaborate lies in under 5 minutes. The husband had tried emotional confrontations, pleading, and even threats, but nothing worked. When he finally approached his wife with cold, calm certainty, she broke down and confessed everything. The calmness communicated that the game was over, that he wasn't fishing for information or hoping for reassurance. He already had all the facts he needed. Now, here's the most important part. How do you use all of this correctly? Because knowing these techniques is only half the battle. Remember, these techniques only work if you are truly prepared for the truth. Don't use them if, deep down, you don't want to know the answer. The psychology behind all these methods is the same. They create pressure while removing her ability to use standard deflection tactics. They force her to engage with the reality of the situation rather than hiding behind emotions or misdirection. But here's what's crucial. Once you get the truth, act quickly. A man who knows the truth but does nothing loses all respect. The power these techniques give you is only valuable if you are prepared to use it. Also, be prepared for the possibility that your suspicions are wrong. These techniques will reveal the truth either way. If she's innocent, her responses will be genuinely confused rather than defensive or corrective. And most importantly, once you know, you can unknow. Make sure you are emotionally and practically prepared for whatever truth emerges. So, which of these techniques seem most effective to you? Write the number in the comments. And don't forget to mention your city. Let's see where men are dealing with this issue the most. I'm genuinely curious to see if this is more common in certain areas or if it's truly a universal problem. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We have many more secrets of female psychology that we are ready to share with strong, intelligent men who deserve to know the truth about their relationships. A man who knows the truth can make informed decisions about his life, his relationships, and his future. A man operating on lies and deception is powerless, controlled by someone else's narrative. The techniques I've shared today come from understanding how the female mind works under pressure, how we respond to different types of psychological stress, and what breaks down our defenses when we're trying to hide something. They are based on real psychological principles, not guesswork or manipulation for its own sake. But here's what I want you to understand. Ultimately, the goal isn't to trap anyone or force confessions. The goal is clarity. Because every man deserves to know the truth about his relationship. Every man deserves to make decisions based on reality rather than comfortable lies. And every man deserves a partner who respects him enough to be honest. If you use these techniques and discover that your suspicions were wrong, then you've gained something valuable: peace of mind and confirmation that your relationship is solid. If you discover that your suspicions were correct, then you've gained something equally valuable: the truth you need to decide how to move forward. Either way, you're operating from a position of knowledge rather than uncertainty, strength rather than anxiety, and clarity rather than confusion. See you in the next video. And remember, a real man always knows the truth, even when it's difficult to hear. The strongest relationships are built on honesty. But sometimes that honesty needs to be uncovered rather than freely given. Too many good men waste years of their lives living in uncertainty, questioning their intuition, and making excuses for behavior that deep down they know isn't right.